On the situation in Turkey, I'm joined by Bulent Aliriza. He is the founding director of the Turkey Project at the Center for Strategic and International Studies right here in Washington. Talk to me about this U.S. consulate attack, because as Natalie framed things back in 2013, of course, there was the attack in Ankara. But even dating back to 2003, there was an attack on the British consul general, and the consul general himself was killed. So when you think about these diplomatic postings, you would think that the security would be very, very tight, difficult to penetrate. What are your thoughts about what went wrong?
Actually, the U.S. consulate in Istanbul is incredibly well protected. They moved it away from the center of town, where the British consulate had been attacked, as you say, in 2003. So it's pretty invulnerable. And in fact, the two female assailants didn't get very near the gate. They were just shooting at it from the outside. Nonetheless, it underlines how dangerous it is to be posted in that part of the world.
Let me ask you about the violence. Just a couple of weeks ago on the Heat, we had some analysts from inside Turkey who were concerned that this two-pronged attack going after ISIS and PKK may actually lead to some internal strife within the country. Is that what we're witnessing here? Do you suspect that's what's in play?
There hasn't been a reprisal from ISIS yet, apart from that initial attack at Suruç, which helped promote the agreement with the United States to allow U.S. forces, U.S. aircraft to attack ISIS from Turkey. We haven't seen any attacks within Turkey by the Islamic State radicals. What we're seeing are attacks by Kurdish sympathizers, members of the PKK, or affiliated or similarly minded leftist groups, which are taking on the Turkish state in Istanbul as well as in the southeast of the country.
There was a columnist who recently wrote that he posited the question, is Turkey headed toward an all-out war with Turkey's Kurds, and talking about the bloody years back in the 90s. Is that a concern?
Absolutely. You know, there was a peace process that broke down just recently, which saw the absence of violence between the PKK and the Turkish government. Now the Turkish government, which by the way is a caretaker government since the June 7 indecisive elections, has unleashed the Turkish Air Force to attack targets inside Iraq, on the Kandil Mountains, where the PKK is based. And the PKK is retaliating. Now, the danger is the escalation of violence within the southeast, which is predominantly Kurdish, which voted overwhelmingly for the HDP, which got 13% of the vote and over 6 million votes from mostly the Kurds. We can actually think of unpleasant scenarios where the situation gets worse, and then on top of that, we could also have the attacks by ISIS once the U.S. aircraft based in Incirlik begin to attack Syrian ISIS targets in Syria.
So and when you look at the landscape and you start talking about this sort of thing, how bad can it get?
It can get a lot worse. Because at the moment, we had two attacks in Istanbul. Most of the confrontations are in the Kurdish southeast. Now, if bombs begin to go off on a regular basis in not just Istanbul, but also Ankara and the resort cities, where there are lots of tourists from the outside, it could be much, much worse.
Was it a mistake for Erdogan to attack both, go after both targets?
Well, I mean, that's going to be debated for some time. Now, the confrontation with ISIS is taken the form of one attack on ISIS targets right at the beginning of the campaign. Much more sustained and much more numerous attacks have taken place on the PKK. Now, as I suggested, it's likely to get worse in terms of the confrontation with ISIS as the U.S. Air Force begins to attack the targets. But maybe it might have been wiser to take on one and then the other, rather than taking on both at the same time.